Hello, we are back. So, it has been an exciting first day. Well, we had yesterday, it was a half day, first full day here at AdTech New York. And I just want to thank all of you for coming. We've had an interesting arc over the course of today, particularly with regard to social. We started with David Fisher. We've had the social media marketing master led wonderfully by Chris Brogan in the conference. We've had a ton of stuff going on throughout the expo. And so we're very pleased today to have the end of our day be with Google+, the latest entrant, very powerful entrant onto the social media scene. Now, before we go there, can I get a couple of those two slides up? Because I want to remind you that we're having a conversation here, and this is our hashtag. So hashtag AdTech. It has been screaming with tweets. Screaming with tweets. That sounds like a very angry bird, but not the fun, video game kind. It's been absolutely on fire all day. And very robust conversation. People have liked things, they've not liked things, so people have really been engaged. And the next one, please. This is live. It's not just here, the people in the room, the people all over are actually watching this. So we're very excited. And we're pleased that you're here in person. We're pleased that in an environment in which so much of our business is done remotely, in which it's so easy to connect with people all over the world. And yet, I travel all over the world going to the AdTech conferences. And I can tell you that no matter how easy it is to connect with someone by email, by Skype, by instant messenger, by text, nothing has yet replaced the smile, the handshake, and the clap on the back. We're here to foment and to instill environments that are going to make your business do better. And so I thank you for coming, because it's good for everybody when we do this. So there's the media, there's the social, and there's all of us working together to make this environment the best we can possibly make it, not only for ourselves as consumers, as users, as citizens, but also as advertisers and as marketers. So we're closing today by going from the biggest show to the newest entrant. But the newest entrant, which is with the most impossibly huge company that you can imagine, which is Google. And so let's think about Google Plus for a moment. It was launched in beta in June. It didn't go public until just about less than 2 months ago, and it already has 40 million active users. Wow! I mean, that's an amazing start. Think about this one. 3.5 billion photos have been uploaded. So for years, we have all become reliant on Google to help us make sense of our lives and the world around us. And I'm not just talking about search, although Google is the interface between me and all possible information there is in the world. I was trying to tabulate a little bit ago how much of my life is run by Google, and it's staggering. I use Gmail on 2 different accounts. I have a Google Voice phone number. So all of my voice calls go through Google+, and all of the texts. And I'm the oldest living texter. I send a lot of texts. We use, in our business, we use Google Docs chronically. And of course, we have Google Search and many other things besides. And now, where has Google+ come? It's come to be not only the connective tissue between us and all of the information that we use. It is so dominant in search. It is the connective tissue between us and the world, but also increasingly with that plus button and with that button in the toolbar, it is now the connective tissue across all of our endeavors online. So it's really a fascinating new thing that's just taking what Google was and turning it into something ever more powerful. So we're very lucky to have as our closing speaker tonight the man who leads all of Google's social products. Christian Oestlien, I've been mangling his name. Let me try it one more time. Oestlien has been with Google for 5 years. For the 4 of those years, he was part of the display team. And then a little over a year ago, he was part of the founding team that really got going with Google+. So he's been with Google for 5 years. He was raised all over the place. And so when I asked him how he got into advertising, he said his first internship in college was at Ogilvy, and that was it. He was in advertising from there on. I said, Ogilvy here in New York? He said, no, in Hong Kong. Right. As if, we all woke up in Hong Kong this morning. He's also a passionate martial artist, and so Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is something that he does all the time. So he's a really interesting cat, and he's also here to explain to us how brands and advertisers are going to play in this new social environment. So please, let's give Christian Oestlien a warm AdTech welcome. Let's bring him up on stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That was a lot of personal information. So if you guys want to, if any of you are active on Google+, we've got our own hashtag, G+Biz. And this is really for us, the product managers and all the marketers that are working on this stuff, to get your direct feedback. It's a pretty rare opportunity for us to engage with this kind of an audience. So please get involved. Please engage. We're going to keep this conversation going long after I'm done here on stage. So, to introduce myself, which he already just did, my name's Christian Oestlien, and I'm really here to introduce you guys to Google+. Pretty awesome, right? That was a live hangout with the Black Eyed Peas from Central Park. One thing that really resonated with me and what will.i.am said during that was he said, this isn't behind the music, this is going to be the music. will.i.am is one of those guys who understands the power of technology and the influence that the internet is having in reshaping the way artists connect with their fan base, right? This is about marketing 2000 and next. If you think back, I think there are probably a few people in the room who were around when the first music video came out, right? Video killed the radio star. That's exactly what happened. Video killed the radio star. But out of that, a whole new medium emerged, right? You had artists, you had new ways of advertising, a whole new way of consuming music. People like Madonna, Michael Jackson, who really knew how to capitalize on that medium to build a fan base that was really global in nature. So I think we're in a similar revolution now. And it's being driven by people like will.i.am, by Lady Gaga, by people who understand that by harnessing the power of the internet, you can connect to your fan base in a way that's never been done before. 10 years ago, nobody would have thought that was possible. So that's really where we are. I think that taking things like Hangouts transforms what you can do as marketers. This isn't just about music, this is about marketing. It's about the interaction, the entertainment, and the engagement that comes from connecting with your audience at such a personal level. It's really incredible. And social is not something new. We talk a lot about it lately, but it's really not anything new. It's been around forever. That desire to connect, to communicate with your friends, your family, the people that share your same interests, your same passions, we've always had that. That's in our DNA. What's fundamentally changed, though, is how we connect. Our lives have basically been uploaded. You know, earlier this week we launched Google Plus for your business, including Google Plus pages. And when we did that, we really wanted to think about how we as Google could do something a little bit different, how we could influence and impact and make some positive change in the way you as marketers engage with social today. And we came up with 5 ways that I want to talk to you about today. This is sort of where we are. Fragmented marketing, recommendations that lack staying power, comments instead of conversations, impersonal messages, and a real lack of insight. So when we started brainstorming what we were going to do with Google+, we really wanted to address these for you as marketers. Let's start with fragmented marketing. So your marketing today, if you think about what you do in social, it's really separate from everything else that you're doing with your marketing. And it doesn't need to be. We think that we can take everything that you're doing with social and connect it to all the other ways in which you're marketing on the internet, online and offline. And we think we can do that in some pretty creative ways. Imagine if you could take the power of search and have that influence social, and vice versa. What if social could have a really dramatic impact in the way you guys use search today? We're really excited about this. And that's fundamentally what we're trying to do with Google+. We're not trying to bring something completely new to the market. We're trying to transform what you already do. What we're trying to do is take everything that you do today and make it that much more better, right? Larry said something really powerful in our last earnings call. He said, we've shipped the Plus, now we're going to ship the Google. That means we're going to transform everything that you guys do with Google on a daily basis by bringing in the power of sharing and recommendations through all these relationships that already exist out there. And now with the launch of Google Plus pages, there are 2 ways that I really want to focus on today that we think we can kind of unify your marketing and bring it all back together. In particular, bringing social into everything else that you already do. That's Google Plus pages, and that's Direct Connect. Let's take a look at Google Plus pages.
I make buddies with all my customers. It's really kind of a funny thing, and I think I've always had this ability to kind of break down these walls and make people feel at home with how I work. I love my customers. I mean, I think as kooky as they can be, as kind of rough as they can be, whatever, send them all that way, and I can kind of I can cope with them and get songs and make them feel at ease. I don't expect tips. I don't expect anything, monetarily that will come. But I just like their loyalty. I like that they come in and they know me, and they smile when they come to the shop and feel comfortable. What makes my job easy is I like dealing with people, so I do my best to please them, and that's what drives me.
So we've been out for a couple of days now, and we've seen just some incredible adoption from some of the biggest names out there. We're just thrilled. Take a look at this list. We couldn't be happier. And they're actually active on Google+. They're engaging with their audience. They're posting great content. They're hosting Hangouts. It's really exciting. But what fundamentally drives me when I think about Google+ pages is the opportunity that we have with you as brands. Google has never had a place on Google where you could connect directly with all of our customers and communicate with them. You've been advertising with us for years, hopefully, but you've never had a place where everyone could come and communicate directly with you as a brand. And we think Google Plus pages is the start of something really special there. We introduced the +1 button this year as well, and that was to give users the ability to recommend you no matter where you are on the web. So you have +1s from your website, +1s from your display campaigns, +1s on search. But they've never been connected until today. So with Google Plus pages now, what we can do is we can connect all these plus ones that are happening around your brand, and we can anchor them on your brand, on your identity at Google. That means you're going to have more plus ones in aggregate, and as Google, we're going to be able to take those recommendations and we're going to be able to put them in a lot more places. We're really thrilled about that because it extends your brand and it puts it in front of our users across all of Google and everything that they're doing on a daily basis. The other thing I want to talk about is Direct Connect. We introduced that this week, and we think this is something really great, really special that you can use to promote yourselves, not just in Google, but anywhere that you're marketing, right? All you have to do is create a page and tell your audience, your customers, the people that you're marketing to go to Google search and type in plus and your brand name, and we're going to automatically redirect them to your plus page. Think about the power of that. In a commercial, here we're talking about YouTube. What if at the end it just said plus YouTube on Google? Think about the impact that that can have. We can here in this example, type in plus YouTube, go straight to the plus page, and YouTube is automatically added to one of my circles, so I'm following them. So it's not just about that one time that the user's typing in plus YouTube or plus your brand. It's about that ongoing relationship that gets established from that one moment on. The ability to communicate with that person through Google on an ongoing basis. We're really excited about that. And more importantly, it's not about Google. It's about plus and your brand, and that's it. It's about putting you at the center of everything on Google. Now we have this issue of recommendations. I talked about the plus one earlier. And one of the things that drives me nuts is how useful recommendations are and how I can never find them when I actually need them. So I'll give you a great example. I have a lot of friends who come out and visit me from San Francisco, and I always want to show them a great time when they come to New York. And a couple weeks ago, I had a buddy in town, and I wanted to take him to this new restaurant that a friend had recommended. And for the life of me, I spent the whole night trying to figure it out. I could not remember the restaurant recommendation. And I know that's not a unique experience for me. Everybody has that moment where they were recommended something and they just can't remember it, right? Where do these great recommendations all go? It's hard to find them when you need them. And why does that matter for you as marketers? It matters because 90% of people rely on personal recommendations from their friends. And they rely on when they're making purchase decisions, product decisions, deciding what restaurant to go to in New York. You couple that with the fact that 84% of people are online doing research before they make any purchase decision, any product decision. And if you could unite those two things, I think you've got a really winning combination there, right? You can marry the power of personal recommendations with the immediacy and the power and the effectiveness of something like Google Search. And that's why we introduced the plus one button. The idea behind the plus one button was to let your fans, your users, recommend you in a really lightweight gesture, no matter where they see you on the internet. Now that ties back to your Google Plus page, and we can use that to surface recommendations when they matter most. If I could have gone to Google and searched for Italian restaurants in New York a couple weeks ago, seen a list of them, but had one that really jumped out at me because it had my friend's personal recommendation annotated right underneath, that would have made a huge difference to me. And I would have used that, I would have clicked on it, and I would have been able to show my friend that much more of a great time in New York. And we're not the only ones who believe that the plus one can work for you as marketers. Since we launched this earlier this year, it's become the fastest growing social widget in history. It's on over 1 million websites already, doing over 5 billion impressions a day. And it's everything from the small mom and pop sites to places like Pepsi, Dell, eBay, Mazda. Everybody started to understand the ability of the plus one button to surface recommendations when they matter most. And that, for you as a marketer, matters because it helps drive an increase in performance. When somebody's searching for things that are related to your product, and they can see a recommendation from one of their friends underneath one of your ads or one of your search results, we're actually seeing a significant increase in click-through rates. When I can see and that's intuitive, right? I trust recommendations from my friends. When I can see their face next to a search result or a search ad and it says, Greg recommended this or Susan recommended this, I'm going to react to that. That has an impact. It drives more traffic to your sites, more feet to your stores. So the other thing is, when you think about the way people are engaging in social media today, what we're seeing a lot of is comments, not conversations. How many times have you posted something to a brand and really not gotten a response? It's frustrating. You send somebody a message, you hope that they're going to react, give you a response, but you don't get anything. That's going to impact your loyalty to that brand. That's going to impact the likelihood that you want to interact with that company in the future. And you're not alone. 95% of posts go unanswered, unresponded to. That's a really significant number. And to me, it's mostly significant because of the 5% that do respond and the impact that's having on their marketing and their campaigns. Everybody knows the Old Spice guy, I hope. Old Spice did a really great job bringing in a new character to promote their products, bringing in an entirely new audience. But some of the things that they did were really unique that put them in that 5%. They took a day and they responded to all the comments that were coming through to them on all these different social properties. And the Old Spice guy was actually recording videos and posting them on YouTube as responses. People loved that. They ate it up. The idea that they could post something to the Old Spice guy and he would talk in that ridiculous voice, give them a great answer, that's really cool. That's something that people appreciate because they understand that the brands are responding to what they have to say and they're creating that communication. They're moving from comments to conversations. And Old Spice was rewarded for that. Their YouTube channel became one of the top YouTube channels. They generated over 1.5 billion impressions from this. And actually, when it really counted, they were able to generate over a 25% increase in sales. You know, I don't know too many marketing endeavors that can claim to have generated a 25% increase in sales. That's powerful. And it's primarily powerful because people's expectations are so low. They don't expect to get a response. And when they do, they love it. They thrive on it. They appreciate the fact that brands are willing to engage in these types of conversations. And what's the best way to have a conversation? The best way to have a conversation is face-to-face. And that's what something like Google Plus and our Hangouts is enabling. In particular now, as of this week, for you as businesses. The ability to connect directly with your customers. No matter where they are in the world, no matter what time of day, you can launch a Hangout and you can talk directly to your followers, to the people that care and are passionate about your brand. And it's not just one person, right? This is multi-person video chat. Brands have latched onto this really quickly. Macy's did a Hangout, I think it was yesterday, where they actually brought in fashion bloggers to give fashion advice for the fall and the winter to all of Macy's followers on Google+. Disney used it to promote one of their big upcoming movies. In fact, they used two of my heroes to do the Hangout, so I wanted to show you guys that.
Hi, hello there. Ever wanted to hang out with the Muppets? No, more specifically, what? Well, the good news is that you can join a Google Plus Hangout with the Muppets on YouTube today. Ooh, I really own a Hangout TV? Let's say it's on, let's invite somebody to game from a new movie, The Muppets, to hang out as well. Well, you might as well invite everyone. Okay.
So that's pretty cool. I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of the Muppets. The only thing that could have made that better if it was Statler and Waldorf. That's for Muppet fans out there, heckling people in the Hangout. But again, my passion for the Muppets, that's probably not something that I'm going to share beyond this audience. We're obviously all very close friends. We go way back. On the internet, though, sharing has just become a little bit awkward, right? And the result of that is that you have sort of this impersonalization, or the lack of personal messages. Everything's sort of become a little bit more broadcast and impersonal. In the real world, I change what I'm talking about depending on who I'm talking to, right? I don't have one message for everybody. The internet is the same. You can't just post one thing and expect everybody to react to it, everybody to like it. That's why we created circles. We wanted to create the ability for you in a really easy, intuitive way to drag and drop your friends, your followers, your connections into circles that made communication more intuitive for you. That meant that you could focus on delivering the right message to the right person. That's the way personalization on the internet should be, right? It needs to focus on delivering to people the content that they want to see, or they're going to lose interest, right? Let me give you a great example. I go to San Francisco all the time for work. I'm always out in Mountain View. And when I'm out there, the conversations that I have about going out there, they change depending on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to my mom, I'm probably talking about which restaurant we should try. Where should we meet while I'm in town? If I'm talking to my buddies, I'm talking about where we're going to get some drinks. 1, 2, maybe a few more, right? If I'm talking to Larry or anybody else back at Google, you better believe I'm telling them about how productive I am, how great the meetings were, and in general, just how much I was able to accomplish. I'm not talking to him about how many drinks I had with my buddies the night before. And I'm not talking to my mom about the PowerPoint presentation that I'm working on, because she could care less. And that's the idea behind circles. If I can organize the people that I interact with on a daily basis into these really intuitive circles, these intuitive groups, then I can communicate with them in a really lightweight way. I just type in family, and I know that that message is only going to my family members. That's really had an impact on sharing in Google+. We see 2 to 3 times more sharing through circles than we see just sort of general posts to everybody. That's pretty amazing. We had a hunch, and the data confirms it. We're pretty excited about that. So for you as a business, how would you use circles? You know, Intel has their Google Plus page up now, and they did something that I thought was really creative. They asked their followers what circles they wanted to be put into, right? Not everybody wants to hear the same thing from Intel. If you're sort of a die-hard tech geek, a hardware junkie, you probably want to hear about the next chipset that Intel is developing. But I can tell you that there aren't too many people that follow Intel that want to hear that exact same thing. And if you're in the press, you're following Intel, you're trying to keep up and understand everything that's going on, get all the latest press releases, you can get dragged and dropped right into that newsroom circle so that you're only getting the content that's interesting and relevant to you. I think that's really powerful, and I think all of you as brands, as marketers, as small businesses, when you come on to Google+, you have that opportunity to start fresh and organize the way you communicate with people into this really intuitive circles model. After you've done all that, after you have a profile, you're using Hangouts, you've engaged with your audience, you want to understand what's happening. You want to get some insight into how people are interacting with your content. You want to know what content's popular, who's sharing it, and how it's getting consumed. How are people reacting to it? That matters to you as advertisers because 77% of all the content around brands that's being shared on the internet is being shared by the user, not by the brand. Your job is to find the influencer. Your job is to get them great content and get it spread out there in an incredibly viral way. That's why we introduced the product called Ripples. Ripples lets you see on any public post, you just click right next to the post, it's free, you just go in, and you can see a timeline of how your post was shared, right? In a beautiful visualization. This is the actual visualization of the first post from the Muppets Plus page, right? You can see who was sharing it, you can see how much time it took, when it ebbed, and when it peaked. You get to see how people interacted with that content. I can't think of anything more powerful than being able to zoom in and find these tight circles of people and how they're interacting with your brand and your content, seeing the comments that they're posting related to it. It's incredibly powerful, and it's going to help you not just use something like circles to have a focused message. Now you can actually tailor that focused message to make sure that you're introducing the right type of content, the right type of conversation with your users. And Ripples is really just the beginning, right? Google Plus for your business is less than a week old. And this is already the type of data and the type of visualizations that we're going to provide you so that you can become a much more intelligent user of social media to reach your target audience. So let's sum that up. You know, we've got fragmented marketing, Google Plus pages. Direct Connect allows you to bring social into everything else that you're doing with your marketing today. Recommendations lack staying power. The +1 button lets you carry that recommendation on and surface it when it matters most. In a world of comments instead of conversations, Hangouts let you engage face-to-face with the people that are most passionate about your brand. And where messages have just become impersonal, broadcast posts to everybody, Circles lets you organize the people that follow you into really clean, tight-knit audiences. And finally, once you're doing all that and you're deeply engaged, products like Ripples give you really deep insight into how your content is being shared and consumed and used all across Google+. So, what can you do now? It's actually really easy. Go to Google+, sign up if you don't already have an account. Get involved. It's actually really fun. The celebrities that are posting content, your friends and family that might already be on there, the brands that are doing Hangouts on a daily basis. This is really cool stuff. It's nice to work on a product that is so deeply engaging on a daily basis. You're all businesses. Whether it's you or somebody else in your organization, create a page, get involved. Start a Hangout. In fact, we have a page for everything that we're doing related to businesses called Google Plus Your Business. And we're holding help desks and Hangouts next Thursday. So if you just look for our page, Google Plus Your Business, you'll see when we're doing these Hangouts. You can come check it out. We'll help you with all the questions you have. Who knows? I might even try and pop in. And then integrate this into everything that you do today. Social marketing, it's not about doing something completely new. It's about improving everything that you already do, in particular with Google today, to make that experience more social, more engaging, richer, and more rewarding for your users and your audiences by incorporating sharing, recommendations, and these relationships that already exist in the real world. Bring them into the internet. That's what Google Plus is all about. It's about transforming your experience with Google, making it more social, more enjoyable, taking your interests, your relationships, and personalizing that experience in a way that we've never been able to do before. We want to help you do everything that you already do today. We just want to help you do it a little bit better. The internet has the ability to really create these magic moments. Families from all over the world watching a Black Eyed Peas concert in Central Park with 60,000 people. It's incredible. And we want to help you as brands create those same kind of magic moments. The next time I'm up here on stage, I want to be showing something great that a brand did. Because just like the great artists are going to figure this out and use this technology to their advantage, we think the great brands and businesses are going to do the same. I wanted to end on what I think is just the most magical moment I've seen on Google Plus to date. And it really talks about how integrating this social layer into what we're doing at Google can create a global experience that's just deeply, deeply personal at the same time. Let's take a look.
I already told them about you. I heard you.
And while it is a real pity that His Holiness cannot be here, we are so grateful for the world of technology that has come to us and that we can have this conversation.
Now this I really very much enjoy. Our physically long distance, but I can see your face.
I just wanted to find out from you, why does the Chinese government fear you?
Some Chinese officials describe me as a demon. I immediately respond, yes, I have
How do we learn how to build a culture of peace?
It's actually very straightforward. Let women take over.
Your Holiness, I would like to ask you one more thing. If you're going to give a gift from your heart to your very special 80-year-old friend here,
Please live long. Your 19th
Thank you.
Christian, that was terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Really
so let's
appreciate
pull up the house lights and see if we have any questions in the audience. We have microphones there and there. First of all, I just want to say I'm more of a Gonzo the Great Muppet fan myself. So,
I agree.
Although I think that might have been the first Statler and Waldorf shout out that we've had here at AdTech. So let me ask one question, which is, this is an amazing array of tools. It's a great toolbox. But one of the things you said when you were talking about comments and not conversations, it made me think back to the virtual world days where we had brands that were having islands in Second Life, and there was the lights are on but nobody's home problem. And so it does sound like a whole lot of work. And on the marketing side, just talk with us for a minute about how people need to construct or maybe change how they think about marketing as a 9-to-5 job, or when does that conversation happen, and what happens if the lights are on and nobody's home on a Google Plus page for a brand. And then we'll go to the audience just 1 second.
Absolutely. You see a lot of brands already reacting to this exact problem. They're building, centers, digital media centers, where they're actually looking in real time, monitoring everything that's happening so that they can actually respond to these things in real time. But I think the important thing to note is it's really what we highlighted in the video for Google Plus pages, which is, businesses don't make people happy, people do, right? So behind all these pages are people. And they're people that are actively managing these brands, they're actively engaged. And I think as marketers, we sort of need to transform the way we think to focus on the fact that if we bring these people to the front, give them more power to engage and interact directly with these audiences through things like Hangouts, through the Plus pages themselves, that you can actually engage in a much more meaningful way. I don't think everybody expects an answer to every single post, but if they know that every other day or something like that, they can come in and have a hangout with the brand, get an audience, and get a reaction and a response, I think that's a great first step.
So tell us who you are and who you work for.
Louis Goldman, I'm a consultant. A key question is these various features of Google Plus and the impact that they're going to have on search within Google, particularly, as they relate to social media and impacting, sort of ranking of results. Can you talk to that at all? Particularly when you talk about like friends' recommendations for products or brands?
Absolutely. That Larry quote really talks about what we're doing kind of behind the scenes now. We're taking the Plus, and we're putting the Google in it right now. So to your specific question, when we look at, we've been testing this for quite a while now with things like Plus Ones and integrating friends' recommendations into results, and we're seeing a positive result. So we think this is actually something that we can start to use as, one of the dozens upon dozens of signals to help improve and influence search rank, but to make it something that's much more personal to you as an individual user, right? If it's recommendations from friends, it's going to change the results depending from person to person. So right now we're not doing anything specific, but we really see a great opportunity there to sort of have social really transform results on search, the way you use maps, to make it a much more personal experience.
So over here, tell us who you are and who you work for.
Hi, my name is Nasir. I'm with Skyworks. We are a gaming company, and we're actually working with Google, your company, to bring our Apple iOS apps. We have many apps, over 50, and just achieved 40 million downloads on Apple iOS. So my question to you is, given what's happening with mobile, if you could share with us how you're thinking of or connecting Google Plus to the mobile world and then connecting all together.
Sure. These are great questions. You've started to see the beginning of what we're going to do with Google Plus on mobile. Two things. First, with the app that's readily available in both the iOS App Store and in the Android Store, but also in the latest release of Ice Cream Sandwich, where we're starting to think about much deeper ways in which we can integrate the things that you're doing on Google Plus into your experience on Android mobile phones. Again, it's all about creating that social, more personalized and tailored experience that makes everything feel that it was really created and built specifically for you. So mobile is definitely a part of the plans, as are all of our other great products and properties.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Tell us who you are.
Hi there, my name is James Banks. I'm a freelance web developer and designer from Australia. And my question is that I'm sure it's on the edge of everyone's minds, but do you really believe that you can overtake Facebook as the primary social network on the internet? And if so, what would be your strategies in place to get the colossal user base from Facebook to Google+?
We don't think about Google Plus in terms of what other people are doing today. You know, certainly there's that, I guess you'd call it that feature race, where we want to make sure that we have enough products in Google Plus and around Google Plus to make it interesting. But for us, you know, even if there was no other social service out there today, we would want to implement this strategy, because this is about transforming your relationship with Google Plus. You know, the number of people, with Google, the number of people that come to Google on a daily or weekly basis, it rivals virtually all other properties out there. And so if we can take that experience, make it more social, more interesting, and more personalized, that's something we want to do no matter, you know, who else is engaged in the same space. So you should really be thinking about Google Plus much more about transforming your relationship with Google and improving that experience for you than anything else.
Thank you.
Tell us who you are.
My name is Chance Chapman. I'm an entrepreneur in residence at Mercury 11. Can you talk about the integration of Google Pages and Google Places? So your example was, you know, you wanted to find that restaurant when your friends were in town from San Francisco. When you do find that, does it give all the information that's available, and does it give the consumer the opportunity to interact or maybe buy products on Pages?
Yeah, so, you know, place pages still exist, and we think that surfacing that kind of information to users is just incredibly useful. But you'll see with the launch of Google Plus pages that we also wanted to incorporate a way for local businesses to get involved in Google Plus, because, you know, you see it with everything from like the food trucks that are running around all over the place to these really niche coffee stores. All of them want to connect and communicate directly with their patrons, people that are there every day, right? So we want to make sure that that experience is integrated into Google+. And going back to what we said earlier, we want to make sure that that social experience is everywhere else, right? So if you are looking at content and information about these local businesses, we want to make sure that we can think about how we could incorporate a social aspect into that as well.
Tell us who you are.
Yeah, hi. My name is Jim Eisen. I'm from Smart Communications, a mobile operator in the Philippines. My question has to do with Google Plus Hangouts being broadcast to thousands of people, because I understand that Google Plus Hangout is only available to at the most 10 users at a time. In your examples, you show videos of the Black Eyed Peas and Bishop Tutu and the Dalai Lama. How would a company, what would a company have to do to make a broadcast be seen by thousands of people?
Great question. What do you think, Pacquiao or Marquez?
Pacquiao.
Okay, good. That was Pacquiao, Manny Pacquiao, Filipino fighter this weekend. No, never mind. To your question. So what you saw there was Hangouts on Air. And Hangouts on Air takes that experience of 10 people in a Hangout and it broadcasts it out to thousands of people. So while you saw 10 people in that window watching the will.i.am concert in Central Park, the Hangout on Air actually let us broadcast that out and record it and show it to thousands upon thousands of people that were actually watching that video on Google Plus while not participating in that Hangout. And that's technology that, you know, we really want to make available to everybody. Today we're sort of trying to pick these isolated, really magical moments to showcase the power of that technology, but ultimately that's something that we'd want to make accessible to everybody.
We have one more question.
So if we want to do something like that, we'd actually have to work with Google, to partner with Google to do
Yeah,
to do
in the near
event?
term, you'd have to work with us. Over the medium to the longer term, we'd want to make that type of technology directly accessible.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Last question. Tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Aaron Hagenbu, and I'm a PPC manager at Solid Cactus. You were talking about taking the Plus and putting the Google into it. And although this may be a bit premature, but I was wondering if you plan on integrating sponsored listings to monetize the social experience.
So do you mean, are we going to put ads on Google, in Google Plus?
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have any plans for that today. You know, Google is very disciplined about focusing on building a really great core consumer experience. And if that works out, you know, the opportunities are kind of endless. But refining that and making that core consumer experience successful takes a lot of hard work. So that's really where we're focused today.
Excellent. Thank you.
I think that's a great final word. Christian, thank you so very much for a fantastic close to our day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So everybody, that's it for today. Be back here bright and early tomorrow morning for Wendy Clark from Coca-Cola talking about innovation. And thanks for coming to AdTech New York.